Delivery on 30?
Yeah, sign in.
Sure, you might hold on to that for me? Thanks. That is a bomb. I have just armed it. Don't move. You move, the bomb detonates. If I hear any alarms or sirens, I detonate the bomb, understand? Good. I'll be right back.
No one's ever succeeded in toppling a democracy as ours. But a country rife with anger and division is a job already half done. You must have absolute trust in one another and absolute trust in the plan.
Is this still hurt?
All right, that's a clip of the new series Rabbit Hole, airing now on Paramount Plus. This week is the season finale. The show follows John Weir, a private espionage operative who gets caught up in the fight for preserving democracy. Joining us now, Emmy Award-winning actor Kiefer Sutherland, who plays the character John Weir, and it's great to have you on the show.
Great to have you here. This is talk about a timely series. We talk about misinformation here every morning, and AI. It's what you're in the middle of in every episode.
Yes, it's it's unfortunate that it's as timely as it is, but certainly misinformation is something that I think as a society, given present technology, that we're really struggling to find out what is in fact the truth. And this show explores how that information can be manipulated. And my character is someone who's having a really bad series of days where he is being framed for something that he didn't do, and the show centers around his effort to prove his innocence.
So you're also the executive producer, but talk a little bit about your character and the concept of disinformation, which this really explores when it gets in the wrong hands.
Well, John Requar and Glenn, the creators of this show, we all kind of fell in love with these thrillers from the 70s, The Parallax View, 3 Days of the Condor, and they wanted to create a show about that, but with the backdrop of what is concerning us now in our society. And so the real threat in the context of our show is this move towards autocracy and the threatening of democracy. And the way to do that is to manipulate using technology to manipulate information and create disinformation. And my character is someone who used that, who used that on Wall Street and manipulated certain companies against the companies that he was working for to drive down their stock prices. So he was guilty of this as well. But now it's turned on him, and he has to try and prove his innocence and also take on this potential threat to democracy. And that's where the show lays.
So speak to this character being thrust into this situation. Obviously, a lot of people watching remember you as Jack Bauer on 24, but this is a very different type of role.
It is. I think Jack Bauer, in the course of 24, smiled maybe once in 9 seasons, and that was when he killed Nina Myers. John Weir has a much better sense of humor, I guess my clearest definition would be that Jack Bauer would run into the fire and into the fight, and John Weir would try and run away from it as fast as he could.
You know, you mentioned 3 Days of the Condor, a great and very underrated movie, I would submit. Robert Redford, Max von Sydow.
Yeah.
But watching the clip of this new program of yours, it struck me that the costs of just what I saw on the screen are movie-making costs. It's now a movie that you do in 7 segments.
Yeah.
The incredible change in your business. Talk about that.
Well, I actually started to see that with Hill Street Blues way back in the early 80s.
Gosh.
And with ER. There were certain shows that had production value that was extraordinary. ER was certainly one of those. I think 24 was one of those. And it's gotten to the point now where I've been asked, what is the difference between working on a television show and working on a film? And it's simply time. On 24, we were making the equivalent of 12 films a year.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time doing that. But the technical ways in which we created a television show versus a film were exactly the same.
Yeah. The season finale airs this Sunday. By the way, my daughter's watching because she just texted me and said I say finale, like my dad.
Yeah. Sort of Polish American
All right.
finale.
So here's a clip from the episode where your character attempts to get the right information out to people. Take a look.
I didn't quite know what to make of your email. You could have been a crank or a kidnapper or something.
Technically, I suppose I am.
Yes, according to this.
Look, the reason that I'm bringing this to you, and I'll be brutally honest, most people in our society don't trust the news unless it's feeding the narrative they already want to hear. But somehow you have managed to maintain your integrity. You command respect.
So what are we talking about?
On this thumb drive is everything you need to know about the people responsible for the assassination of Senator Evers. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. This is a widespread conspiracy to take over the United States of America. Moreover, I can bring you a dead man that you can resurrect on television to expose it all. Edward Hong. I only have one condition, that this is presented on live television.
Think I have a few favors I can call in. What else?
Well, Kiefer, that's pretty tense. So, no spoilers, of course. The finale yet to air, and some folks are going to try to catch up on streaming between now and then, I'm sure. But just tell us a little bit, set the stakes a little bit as what we're just watching.
Well, in that scene, I was trying to get a respected journalist that was respected on both sides of the political aisle to help me put up some information and tell the story of everything that's happened in the series up till that moment. The reason why I really liked that scene and why I thought it really rang true to me, when you think back to the days of someone like Walter Cronkite, I always think of that moment when the Nixons were in the White House and Walter Cronkite had done the commentary that the Vietnam War was unwinnable. And Mrs. Nixon stood up and said, "It's over." And Richard Nixon said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Walter Cronkite just told you the Vietnam War is over." And I always kind of admired that moment because as a nation, we needed these true voices to tell us where we were. And whether you think of, Mr. Morrow or Walter Cronkite, that it was absolutely important that we all shared the kind of same news cycle. In order for us to react. It didn't mean that you didn't have different points of view politically, et cetera, but at least 2 + 2 was 4, and we all accepted that. Yeah. And so in the context of our story, that woman is a journalist who is respected by the nation, and if she tells the people what in fact is happening using that thumb drive, the American people will believe that.
You were in a business where if it's not on the page, it's not on the stage. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned stories several times.
Yeah.
What about the writer's strike now? How's that going to impact you and others in your business?
Well, we're out of work, right? Absolutely nothing can happen in our business without the writers. And obviously no one wants to have a strike. But there's a lot of things that are happening, that have to be discussed. How is AI going to potentially threaten intellectual property, et cetera? And so, I, like everybody else, hopes that there will be a resolution soon. But the world is changing around us, and the technology with which we kind of present stories and actually tell stories is changing immensely. And so that will have to be addressed and hopefully quickly and efficiently, and we'll all get back to work. But absolutely nothing happens without the writers, so I wish them the best.
The season 1 finale of Rabbit Hole airs this Sunday on Paramount Plus. Kiefer Sutherland, thank you very much for being on the show this morning. We appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.